Okay, I wanted to just give you a little bit of follow-up to how I'm doing with my thumb and how I'm handling my sex drive. I have been able to have an orgasm using my fingers in the past week, including one time using my thumb, but I'm afraid that by doing so, I actually prolonged the healing process. It seems that Lizzo, Antichrist Lizzo, is trying to disprove my statement that I have asexual tendencies. She's projecting her own self onto everybody. She apparently has a pretty strong sex drive, which she satisfies, I'm hearing, by gorging herself. She actually gets an orgasm, I hear, from eating large amounts of unhealthy food. I personally think, and I could be wrong, I think she has borderline personality disorder, and that Satan has offered her a way to deal with the frustrations. But what I mean is, because I think she has a strong fear of abandonment, and something happened to her maybe growing up. Let me see if I can get this down here. I'm trying to get better lighting here. This isn't working. And I think she's getting me obsessed about the lighting. I should probably just not worry about it. There, we'll just go with this. Yeah, she's trying to get me obsessed with lighting. Let me try to, yeah, whenever you have a bad obsession, it means she's doing something. So, yeah. Okay, that'll work. Yeah, so basically this morning, I did sense that, well, in the middle of the week, I was able to use my thumb to have an orgasm with my husband, Brent. And it wasn't, but I'm afraid that by so doing, I prolonged the healing process. Normally, I only require an orgasm like once a week, once every 2 weeks. I don't really require it. But my husband is always humping on me, and I can feel it even though he's kind of like in another dimension, so I don't feel him totally. But when I feel the humping and I sense that he's turned on, that alone will get me interested in having sex with him. Okay, that's all. So let me explain to you what I've discovered about using the thumb. I have figured out that I try to use the thumb as a penis substitute because I never really feel my husband's penis totally when we're having sex, okay? And we are having sex because he's living here with me. And so what I do is I use the thumb as the lead in massaging the clitoral area like this, and then I really get into it when I'm getting close to an orgasm, just to try to build things up, And I use these 3 fingers, okay? So that's what I do. And I imagine in my mind my husband really getting into it too. And that worked a couple days ago, but like I said, I think I prolonged the healing process by doing that. But it's not just that. You'd be amazed how much you use the thumb. It is almost impossible to cook, do the dishes, take a shower. I mean, I've been wearing gloves in the shower without using your thumb, so maybe it wasn't prolonging the healing process. The other thing, this morning, I felt like she was artificially turning me on. Yeah, artificial. It kind of reminded me of what happened to my men with Angelina Ballerina. Remember her? All she had to do was flash her boobs at the guy, and he was history. All he could think about was a 24/7 lust fest with her. And, it made her feel so hot. Yeah, and according to divine authority, she could have even done that to me if she got close enough to me. And I feel like Antichrist Lizzo is using many of the same tactics that Angelina Ballerina used. Angelina Ballerina had very strong brain control ability. Though her brain control seemed more focused on sexual turn-ons, Lizzo seems more focused on discrediting her enemies. So she'll use the brain control on them in a manner to make them look bad morally so that she can look better morally. So I do think she suffers from borderline personality disorder. I think growing up, she had a strong fear of abandonment simply because she couldn't control her eating habits and she got really fat. And she figured no guy would ever truly love her and they'd all dump her once they realized how fat she was and how disgusting it was to have sex with her. And so I think that she had borderline personality disorder. The sad thing is it appears she dealt with her insecurities by obsessive eating, okay? By eating to make herself feel better, and kind of like how some people will smoke for stress relief, she ate for stress relief, okay? And I'm not an expert on this, but I do believe that Satan approached her and offered her a solution. He said, I will never reject you as long as you are true to being evil. Lizzo. That's what I think he did to her. And he said, and you don't need to feel inadequate about being gloriously fat. Yeah, that's what I think he told her. Yeah. That's what I think he told her. He said, I will make you feel so powerful and empowered about being fat. Therefore, I make you my Antichrist. And anybody who gets around you, you can control their brain. Even get them turned on to you if you want, or something like that. I'm not really sure what she's doing. To be honest with you, a person with borderline personality disorder feels very insecure about holding on to a relationship. They think everybody's going to dump them. And, yeah. And so Satan said, I will never dump you. Lizzo, I think you're hot, just the way you are. Yeah, I think that's how he got her. So she feels like she's finally found someone who will never dump her. The only condition is you have to live with me in hell. Yeah, when she left us, she went down to hell. So that's apparently her new home. Yeah. Anyways, we're getting off the subject. But yeah, I'm really angry at her. I've been shooting bolts and lightning bolts and sling stones, and today it's kind of like rainy, so I'm not going to be able to I may not be able to go outdoors. Another thing I've been doing is Buddha said that the thing is, if anytime we give in to any type of obsession, we are feeding the evil forces in the universe. So I have been doing a lot of that lately, even if it's a good thing, like maybe a religious practice, and any type of idolatry. If you make, like Buddha said, you are making an idol out of a religion. Whether it's Buddhism, it doesn't matter. Any type of idolatry is feeding the evil forces. So if you idolize a religion, or if you give into any obsession, you are feeding the evil forces and strengthening Satan and Lizzo. So, because she's the Antichrist. So, so I'm going out of my way, trying to stay away from the sin of idolatry, which I have a tendency to do, especially religious sins of idolatry. And also trying to stay away from obsessions. I told Buddha, I noticed I really have a tendency to be obsessive about things. And he said, I've noticed that too. He said, one way to really help with that is to go out and visit new places. And I think that's because it helps you to stay present, and that helps you to beat obsessive tendencies. So I have committed myself to a new hobby, bus riding, taking the bus every day to a new place. And I'm no longer shopping at the same grocery store all the time, because I've been walking to one store and going there all the time, and which I think is contributing to my obsessive tendencies. So I actually created a list of a whole bunch of different grocery stores that I can visit through the bus since I don't have a car. And I'm committed to changing up my routine, to exploring new places, new stores, and I'm getting to know all the different stores. Like Kroger has got the best dairy section. So let's say I need to get dairy products. That's the day I go to Kroger, okay? Publix, I'm not sure about Publix yet. Publix is really highly rated in my area, and they say it's the most popular grocery store. I'm still trying to figure out why that is. They don't seem to stand out in any particular area. The one area where I think they are good is they seem to have better looking produce than the other stores, but because I eat a lot of Asian cuisine, their produce is in Asian, like the bok choy, the napa. It doesn't look really fresh. I'm having trouble getting that anywhere in this where I live. So that doesn't mean I'll quit going there. I'll just go there just to visit a different store to kind of change up my scenery so I can quit being obsessive. Whole Foods, I love Whole Foods. Whole Foods, I've been there one time. I will definitely be going back. Whole Foods reminds me of the grocery stores in Seattle. And I really enjoyed shopping in Seattle when I lived there. And so I will definitely be going back there. They have got the best produce for me. And they got daikon radish. See, so far, it's the only one that I can get to by bus that has daikon radish. That daikon radish is a very hard to find item around here. At the Asian store that I go to, they have Korean radish, which is a little different than daikon. And I think I prefer daikon. So I will be going to, oh, by the way, I don't have a phone either. I haven't had one for months. And after what happened to Brent Spiner, where when the phone rang and he couldn't even use his Metcha Gail suit to take out Lizzo when she was attacking the people at the Christmas party, I'm thinking that may be a blessing. Yeah, I'm constantly shooting bolts at her and making sure I keep my Gail shield at 100%. And so far I've been doing that. So let me tell you what happened to me in bed, okay? I felt like I was being artificially turned on. Okay, and I think Lizzo's goal was to get me to use this thumb and prolong the healing process. Because for so far, it's taking me an hour to take a shower, because I have to wear gloves and I have to hold my hands up so the water doesn't drip down, because I've got to keep the thumb dry. Okay, and that's a long time to take a shower, and it's kind of like really slowing me down. And it's a Gail commandment for me to shower every day. And even when I was vacuuming yesterday to do the Gail commandment to vacuum, I found myself very accident prone. She was using brain control on me, trying to get me to trip, trying to get me to bump into things. I kept going to my modulator and punishing her. That I said, bolt her for doing that. Sling stones, take her out, man, make her stop. And I managed to vacuum without injuring myself, but it was not an easy feat, okay? Yeah, she's really trying to be bad. Apparently for the first time in her life, she feels like nobody will dump her. Satan apparently has promised, all you have to do is be true to being evil, Lizzo, and I will never dump you because you're fat. You can be fat, and I will stick with you as long as you're evil. That's my only criterion. You got to be evil. Satan has not really offered her a cure because he is going to be defeated. He doesn't think so, but he will be. I have faith in the goodness that runs the universe, that he will be defeated. And goodness is going to win. And I'm committed to helping goodness win. So anyways, let me tell you what happened with my thumb, okay? So I was in bed and feeling really almost artificially sexually turned on. It kind of reminded me of me in my 20s when I was having my periods, and I noticed when I'm in menopause right now. When I had my periods, my sexual drive got a little stronger. But it didn't mean I was sexually attracted to anyone, I just had a stronger sex drive. And the way I dealt with it was masturbate. And I used my thumb, kind of like an artificial penis, got it out of my system, went on with my day. That's how you deal with it when you're sexually turned on. Nobody gets hurt that way. You give yourself a release, and yeah. When I was young and I had my periods, my sex drive could be fairly strong in my 20s. But it didn't mean that I was sexually attracted to anyone. It just meant my sex drive was a little bit hyped up. And then I would get it out of my system and go on with my day. And I noticed my sex drive was always strongest during my periods. I don't know why that is. I guess it had something to do with the hormones. This time I felt like, when I was laying in bed, I felt like I was being artificially stimulated sexually. I think Lizzo's goal was to get me to abuse my thumb to prolong the healing process. She loves it that it takes me an hour to take a shower because I got to keep the thumb dry, and that it's slowing me down. As far as doing the dishes and cooking, I just wear a glove. Like if I have to eat chicken and get my fingers dirty, I wear gloves when I eat the chicken. But it's a pain in the neck, okay? It'll be nice to get my finger back to normal. It's slowing me down, okay? And I have to change the Band-Aid all the time because it gets dirty throughout the day. But it's healing very, very well. But anyways, so I was sexually turned on. I says, I want to be able to take this Band-Aid off. I don't want to injure this thumb anymore. And yet I'm feeling so sexually turned on. I felt like Angelina Ballerina was in my room turning me on, sort of. Not quite as bad. But Lizzo was definitely. But the first thing I did is I started shooting bolts, because I could do it from my mind, at her for doing this. I said, Lizzo, I can tell you are artificially turning me on, okay? I'm going to have to get, and I sensed she was doing it to my husband, Brent, as well. So that we both had an overwhelming desire to have a climax with each other. I started bolting her. I said, I don't want to be artificially turned on, okay? And I don't appreciate this, Lizzo. This is evil. So now you're trying to get someone with asexual tendencies to be a pervert like you. No, she's like a pervert. I mean, that's disgusting. Getting turned on by eating unhealthy food and having food obsessions. She's a pervert. Yeah, that's not a healthy sex drive. That's a sick sex drive. To me, a healthy sexual expression is one that's based on commitment and love with your partner. So, though, let me just tell you this. Even though that's the way I feel, I don't think lust per se is necessarily wrong, okay? Like, I don't think it was sinful of me in my 20s when I had my period and wanted a release to just masturbate using my thumb and get it out of my system. You know, I wasn't hurting anybody. I got the release, and then I went on with my day. And back then, I could get to orgasm faster because my sex drive was stronger, okay? But at the same time, even though that would happen to me, and it usually happened more if there was a guy in my life that I found attractive. Like, I could get romantically attracted really fast. Sexual attraction is another thing for me. It's not easy for me to get sexually attracted. Like, six-pack abs don't do a thing for me. I look at the guy and think, six-pack abs, oh, they're nice to look at. As far as sexual attraction, lackadaisical. That's how I am, okay? But I was getting really Brent turns me on, especially when he's turned on, simply because we have such a strong connection. Because we care about the same things, we have the same beautiful hearts, and so he really turns me on. And I could tell he was really turned on. So I thought, okay, what am I going to do? I'm really in the mood to get an orgasm with my husband, but yet I don't want to use my thumb. I was determined not to use my thumb. Anyways, when I use my fingers to stimulate myself, I usually take turns. I'll start with the forefinger, then I'll move on to the middle finger. And so I thought maybe I could just not use my thumb at all, just use the forefinger and middle finger. The only problem with that is when I get close to orgasm, I usually like to have something feeling like a real penis going in there. So I thought, let me try something different. Let's try using the middle finger and throwing in the other fingers in there like this and just make it feel thick like a penis. And guess what? It worked. It worked. I did use my thumb for a bit, and I thought, you know what? I think I could get this to work with the middle finger, because that's a pretty powerful finger. And I went like this and kind of like threw in these fingers right here to make it feel like a penis. It worked. So I beat Lizzo. And then after it was over, I said, Lizzo, you know what? But the orgasm wasn't as good as when it's coming from my true inner core. It wasn't as prolonged, wasn't as ecstatic, you know. And when it was over, I thought, well, to me, the most exciting thing about the whole interaction wasn't the orgasm. It was the intimacy, the feeling closeness to my husband. And what was really, I forgot to mention this, what's really interesting is Brent and I were talking brain to brain while we were having the interaction. And Brent was saying, I can tell that I'm being artificially turned on, and so are you. Let's like get this out of our system real quick so we don't damage your thumb too much. Let's throw Zach into this because he's got a perfect penis, and maybe that will help you get to orgasm quicker and get it out of your system. So we tried that. I mean, Zach's my friend. Sometimes I'll do like a threesome with him, and he enjoys it. So we threw him in, brain to brain. But you know what was really funny? Even with his perfect penis, maybe it's because I'm so strongly asexual, it really wasn't helping too much. I thought, yeah, cool, yeah. I mean, it's helping a little bit. And so finally he said, okay, let's kick him out. This isn't working. The thing is I got to have a connection with the guy. And nothing against Zach per se, but the only man I truly, really have a connection with is my husband, Brent. So I said, Brent, you turn me on more than he does, even though he's got the perfect penis and you don't. So we kicked him out. And I said, thanks, Zach. Good try. Go finish it off with 13. Zach said, will do. And he left. I'm just telling you. So finally, I finished it off with Brent like this, using these fingers, just like that. It's got to have the feeling of being a penis. And then when I get close to orgasm, I go like, I thought, okay, we got it out of our system, and now I'm going to go beat up Lizzo for trying to destroy my thumb. It was kind of like I feel like I was raped. An artificial turn-on feels like a rape to me. Yeah, it does. It's like, oh, she artificially turned me on using brain control. The problem is, part of my orgasmic experience is an emotional, mental, spiritual orgasm with my partner. It's not all physical. So an artificial turn-on isn't going to work for me. I won't get as good an orgasm with it. Maybe that's not true of other people, but it's true of me. So I basically, she was trying to destroy my thumb. It seems to be in pretty good shape. I don't know if I'm ready to take a shower with it yet. I'll decide when it's time. Oh, by the way, tonight I'm going to be on MRZ Parker's channel celebrating the New Year. So Happy New Year, everybody. And you know what? The weather's clearing up, and I think I'm going to be able to go to a different grocery store. I'm going to go take the bus and go out. So I've been really, really busy. But you know, I'm committed to meditation time every day too. And what I do is I meditate at the bus stop. Yes, at the bus stop. Well, I'm waiting for the bus to visit a new place to make sure that I don't fall into obsessive tendencies. So yes, I've noticed, and also I thought that by making this YouTube video, it would make the goodness in the universe happy, and that maybe the rain's coming from Lizzo, and I was right. Yeah. I have noticed a couple times when I'm going out to visit a new place and heading out towards the bus stop that if it's overcast, all of a sudden the sky will clear. So she's obviously sending me bad weather, trying to prevent me from exploring new places, keeping my chakras and my Gail Shield strong. And also, whenever you get an obsession, it's probably coming from her. Okay, so keep that in mind. And yeah, she was trying to give me a sexual obsession, like she has. She's kind of like got a mix between a sex food obsession. Any obsession feeds the evil forces. Anything. A sexual obsession, a food obsession, a religious obsession, any obsession. And I catch myself very easily going in obsessions. Like even before I started the video, I was obsessed about the perfect lighting. Yeah. And then I noticed I was getting worried about every little hair sticking out of my head. So anytime you catch yourself doing that, it's probably coming from her. Just be aware of it, okay? And remember, Buddha says the best way to beat obsessions is to go out and visit new places that you enjoy. Change up your routine. Don't get stuck in ruts, okay? And so the weather's starting to improve. And even though tonight I'm going to be celebrating New Year's with MRZ Parker, be sure you join me. Oh, by the way, the blacks do not like Lizzo. I have like 110% support from them. They do not like her. Yeah. They're mad at her. Yeah. Yeah, you're not popular with your fellow blacks, Lizzo. They're disgusted with you. They're seeing the truth now. They're understanding that you've just turned evil and they don't like it. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and post this video. and let you know how I've been dealing with the obsessions that Lizzo's trying to afflict me with and how I'm overcoming it. Yeah. So you all keep in mind my suggestions. It might help some of you guys out.